Hello, buddy. Welcome back to the Tin Man Score channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and today I'm reacting to my third and final nighttime spooks video for you guys today. And this was titled 4 True Subway Restaurant Horror Stories. So without further ado, I'm going to turn these lights off, move the camera up here for you guys, and let's get this reaction on the road and in the bag, shall we? Okie dokie, here we go.
The story I'm about to tell happened just last week. For some background, I'm a female, age 26. I get Subway all the time because it's my favorite restaurant.
Okay.
It's located close to my job. I would stop on average a couple times a week. A couple of months ago, a man who worked there made my sandwich. He had long black hair, glasses, and was slightly overweight. The first time I remember seeing him, everything was normal. Over time, I would see him there a lot. He would always make my sandwich for me. Pretty soon he would start to compliment me and make conversation more and more.
We don't even get Subway like twice a week. We get lucky if we only get it like once. But then sometimes we like to get lunch at either Arby's or McDonald's, Burger King, or any other fast food joint. But if she is getting compliments from the worker at the Subway, at first you would think, oh, he's just being a little flirtatious. But then you never know. He might go down a more deeper personal route, and it might end up making her feel nervous about going back into that place. But let's just see what happens next, shall we?
This was not a problem, but the conversations would get slightly creepier every time. He would ask me things like what I would wear tomorrow and tell me I looked tasty. He started to make me really uncomfortable, but always seemed to be working, so I decided to go to a different Subway from then on. Luckily for me, there was another Subway about 5 minutes down the road from the other one, and so I started going there instead. But then, a few weeks later, I noticed him at the new location I went to. This really creeped me out. Either he worked at both locations, or he was switching locations shortly after I did.
Oh, okay. I'll be having a lot of red flags going up in my head right now because that's a person you do not want to see again, but then yet they switch locations because they figured out that you're not going back to the other one anymore, and they don't want to stop talking to you, it seems like. Man, if the manager was there, I will talk to him quietly while that guy's working on somebody else's sandwich just to tell him how creepy he's acting towards her, because that's just not right. He's acting like a stalker now. And if you want her business still, you got to get rid of that guy.
Maybe I was being paranoid, but either way, he continued to act creepy towards me, so I decided to just stop going to Subway altogether. A couple of weeks went by, and I hadn't been to Subway at all. I was laying in my bed watching Netflix at about 11 p.m. one night when my phone rang. I didn't recognize the number, but I was curious as to who would call me so late, so I picked it up. There was no answer. I said hello. There was still no answer. I could hear breathing at the other end of the line, however. Then, out of nowhere, a whispery voice said, "Look out your window." I immediately hung up the phone and blocked the number. I figured it was just a prank call until I heard tapping at my window. I looked over to see the face of a man in my window. As I looked closer, I saw his long black hair. I noticed it was the man from Subway. It was pretty dark out, but I knew it was him. I ran out of my room and locked myself in the bathroom and called the police. I waited in the bathroom for what felt like forever. After about 5 minutes, I heard the sound of glass breaking. I searched the bathroom frantically for anything I could use as a weapon. Then I heard footsteps in the house, walking a few rooms away. They walked out the room and down the hall. Just then I heard pounding at the front door, followed by someone shouting, "Police." I screamed and then heard the man running back into my room. I then ran out of the bathroom and to the front door and watched as police caught the man attempting to run away. That was my subway horror story.
Well, thank God she called the cops, because if she didn't, that guy would have broken in, found her, and probably molested her, which I don't even want to think about. Because then if he heard the police coming, he ran out the way he came and they didn't see him, then he would have been back to work as normal as always. And the manager probably won't believe what the police and that girl would have said. But thankfully, he was caught and arrested. And I know he ain't going back to work at Subway no more, so she could go back and eat there and don't have to worry about that guy showing up no more. But anyway, let's get to story number 2, shall we?
I work at Subway. For the most part, I enjoy my job. It's nice to have during high school. The creepiest thing that's ever happened to me while working was about 2 months ago. I was working a 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. shift. It was a normal night. I was working with a girl named Ashley who also went to my high school. The night went by kind of slow, but finally 10 p.m. came and it was time to close down. There had only really been one big rush during the night, and we hadn't gotten any customers in about 10 minutes, so the restaurant was completely empty. Ashley cleaned up behind the counter and put stuff away, and I went to sweep the floor one last time and put the chairs on top of the tables. I decided to make sure the bathrooms looked okay, and after checking the women's, I opened the men's to see a man sitting on the floor in the corner of the bathroom. He looked right at me as I opened the door. I just about had a heart attack. I did not expect to see someone in there.
Yeah, I'll be like, what in the world are you doing in here, dude? Don't you know we're closed? You need to get up and leave right now, or I'm calling the police to have you taken out. You never know, that guy wasn't planning on being caught. He was trying to hide so he can walk behind to the cash registers to steal money, probably. But I don't know if that was the case, so let's just continue on to see what this guy found out about the other man hiding in the bathroom.
In fact, I didn't remember seeing this man at all during our shift. He had fairly long black hair and was wearing a black jacket and jeans. After a couple seconds, I said to him that we were closed and he had to leave. He didn't say anything, he just sat there. I realized that he must be on drugs or something. He started to get up and I backed away. But instead of leaving, he shut the door. I went back and told my coworker what I had seen. She said we should call the police. I decided to go back and tell the man that if he didn't leave now, I would call the police. As I approached the door, I heard the sound of glass breaking. I decided at that point not to say anything to the man at all. Instead, I ran back to Ashley and told her to follow me, and we left the restaurant. We sat in my car and called the police. They arrived about 10 minutes later and went inside. It didn't take long before we saw them coming out with the man. Afterwards, we were able to go back and finish closing up. However, the man had smashed the mirror in the bathroom and damaged several other items. I'm hoping nothing like that ever happens again.
Oh man, that shows that he was really furious that you guys found him. But I was afraid that he smashed the mirror just so he could grab a piece of glass and he'll open the door and try to charge at you guys with it. But thankfully, they did the right thing and walked out of there to their car, called the cops, and they handled it. But that is definitely a scary thing to see while you're looking into the bathroom to make sure it was clean before you lock up.
A couple of years back, I was an employee at a Subway restaurant. It was the summer after my freshman year of college. I liked most things about the job, except for the manager of our store. His name was Randy. He was in his mid-40s, and he always gave me the creeps. I'm a female, and I'm roughly 25 years younger than him, and he would always try to flirt with me and even ask me on multiple occasions to hang out with him outside of work.
Okay, that would sound disturbing. Almost like his sexual harassment, but he didn't even touch her. And if you say you're not into him, he's definitely gonna try to find a way to grab her and show him that he means what he says, basically. And it ain't gonna be pretty either. Man, I would have went up to the corporate people that were above him and tell him what he's doing. I mean, that's what she needs to do, but I doubt that she is going to do it right now. So let's just continue on with the story and see what happens next.
I would always say no, but sometimes he would get really persuasive. I was just happy I didn't have to deal with him too much because we usually didn't work at the same time for very long. But one day, it was supposed to be me and my coworker Sam working a 6-hour night shift. Instead, Randy showed up. He told me that Sam had called in and he had to take his place. He said it would just be him and me for the rest of the night. I was uncomfortable when I heard this, and I hoped that we would be very busy so he wouldn't be a creep. The night ended up being pretty good until about 9 p.m. when it started to get very quiet. That's when Randy began acting very creepy again. He said we should hang out after work, but I told him I was really tired and just wanted to go to bed. As I was washing my hands at the sink, which was in the corner, he came up and cornered me and got very close to me. I asked him what he was doing, and then he started to grab me. I tried to get away, but I couldn't. Just then, someone started to walk in the front door, and he left. He whispered in my ear, though, that if I told anyone, he would fire me. Too bad for him, it was just a summer job to me, and I really didn't care. While he helped the customers, I simply walked directly out of the store and drove home. I reported him and never went back to that subway. I don't know what happened to Randy, but I really don't care to find out.
There you go. He really wasn't going to take no for an answer, but then when he got too close to her comfort and he said that if she told anybody about what was going on, he would fire her. But she didn't care. She'll be happy to get away from you, and plus it was a summer job anyway. So hopefully they were, whoever she reported him to, had him fired for sexual stalking. Because people like that don't need to be working in a place like that if they get too sexually attached to their female workers. Just to think that there's people like that in this world that act like pervs and stalkers just make me sick. But I'm just glad that she didn't have to stay there that long and she went to continue on with her life.
A couple of years ago, I was traveling across the country to visit family. One night, I stopped in Colorado and went to a Subway restaurant. It was around 9:45 p.m. and the Subway closed at 10. When I got inside, there was nobody else in the restaurant except for one woman working. She appeared to be about 20 years old and was a little over 5 feet tall. I ordered my sandwich and she made it for me. When she gave it to me, she mentioned that she was working alone and asked if I could stay there until it closed because a suspicious man had been coming in and out during the day. She told me he had been harassing her several times and she was afraid he would come back again or be waiting outside for her. She said the man was about 50 and had a beard and always wore a jacket. I'm a little over 6 feet tall, so I figured I should do it. I told her I could stay and we chatted for a bit. Soon 10 p.m. came and she started to close things down. As she was coming out from behind the counter, the door swung open and a man walked in with a beard and a jacket. I heard the girl say, "That's him." He looked surprised to see me and stood in the doorway for a second. The man asked if I was on my way out. I told him no. He then said I should leave and started to walk past me towards the girl. I grabbed his shoulder and told him to stop. and that's when he took a swing at me. He punched me in my upper chest, and I was able to tackle him to the ground. We struggled for a couple minutes before I got on top of him. The girl called the police, and within a couple minutes they arrived and took the man away. I feel very fortunate that I was there, because I don't know what would have happened if I wasn't.
Yeah, thank God he stayed. He was a real hero. Because if a Subway employee says that they feel threatened because of a customer that just keeps on walking in and harassing them, I wouldn't deal with that either. And if he threatens to say, like, are you leaving? Then you should be getting out the door. I'll be like, you're going to regret it if you go near her. And if he tries to pick a fight, then he's going down the ground like this guy did. But he should be put in jail for harassing a worker at a Subway and punching another customer, which I think he's going to. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more nighttime spooks content like this. This has been another successful installment of the Tin Man Score channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and I said that's a wrap, and have a nice day.